As House Democrats push forward with the impeachment inquiry, most of their colleagues are on recess in their home districts. Many are being asked about the investigation getting underway. That includes Democratic Congressman Josh Gottheimer. The moderate from New Jersey held a forum with constituents Tuesday afternoon. CBSN political reporter Caitlin Huey-Burns asked him how he's been navigating impeachment at home.
And my responsibility has to be to go look at the documents myself. Not what I, not what I read online, not what different papers tweet out or other people tweet out, but to actually go do the homework for myself and to see it myself, and then after the totality of evidence is brought together, make a decision. I think that's why we have this process, right? That's why you have an inquiry, and I think to get ahead of that is irresponsible. And if I'm going to do my job properly.
Gottheimer represents New Jersey's 5th congressional district. He flipped what had been considered a reliably red seat during the 2016 election. President Trump won that district by 1 percentage point, and the seat is on the National Republican Congressional Committee's list of 2020 targets. Our Caitlin Huey-Burns joins me now on set. Caitlin, thank you so much for being here. So we just heard the congressman emphasize the fact-finding process in this impeachment inquiry. What is his strategy to navigating the impeachment question?
Right. Well, I wanted to look at a district like this, a Democrat, a moderate Democrat in a district that supported Trump even narrowly. And we really saw that today at this constituent event because you had lots of mixed opinions about how he should move forward. So his view of this is the impeachment inquiry should go on, but it should be focused on the facts. It should be narrow in its scope. And he didn't want to prejudge anything before all of the facts were laid out. And I asked him, you know, we have the summary of the transcript from the White House. We have the text messages from the State Department, and we have other things that the president has said on the record. How have you not made a decision about this yet? And he said it was just really important for him and his constituents to see this whole process in a transparent way, to go through the various committees, the respective committees, and just to kind of see how this plays out. So he's trying to walk a very cautious line here, and just being at this event today kind of showed us why. We saw just in one booth alone, one constituent thought that Democrats were just treating the president unfairly, and right across from him another woman, another constituent, said that the impeachment inquiry was the right way to go. So that's kind of how he's trying to navigate this.
So let's go ahead and listen to some of those voters that you spoke with.
I do agree with the congressman. It needs to be looked into. I do agree that it needs to be looked into, but no decisions need to be made until all of the information is there on both sides.
As I mentioned to the congressman, some of these people need to read the Constitution for themselves. And right in there, it says that the president is supposed to be working with foreign leaders to expose any kind of crime or misdeeds or anything along that line. So he is perfectly within lines with working with other governments. That's his job as president.
So, Caitlin, have you found that voters want to actually ask Representative Gottheimer about this particular issue?
Well, it was interesting because when he started this event, and he does an event like this every month where he meets with constituents in this fashion, he started off by talking about the lead water in schools, talked about veterans issues, infrastructure, and some other items. And then he got around to talking about the impeachment inquiry. He was asked about it by a few constituents at this event. Someone asked him, you know, how are you going to get all the facts if the White House is not giving all of the information, is stonewalling Congress? Another person asked if he would support impeachment if it ever came to that. But then others asked about, expressed concern that Democrats are creating a political environment with this. Someone told him, I'm just concerned that the president has been, up against a lot from day one. And so really a variety of different views, but mostly a lot of the questions were geared around local issues. A couple people even asked about Lyme's disease. A couple people asked about veterans issues. So it shows kind of how they know that this is going on, but they also want their lawmakers to kind of walk and chew gum at the same time.
Well, let's play another soundbite from your interview with the congressman. This is where he spoke about the amount of time devoted to discussing impeachment on the campaign trail.
We need to let this process run its course, but we also have to make sure that whether you're talking about getting the cost of prescription drugs down or making sure we get taxes down here in Jersey, getting the state and local tax deduction back, or getting our roads and bridges fixed, we have to be able to do that, and stand by our veterans and do the things we need to do while this investigation is going on. And I think I think it's incumbent upon us to do both.
So, as we've mentioned, Republicans are targeting his seat to try and flip it in the next election here. Is he concerned at all that this focus on impeachment is actually going to hurt him politically?
Well, it was apparent that he didn't want it to be the only focus. He thinks that this is a job that Congress has to do, but that his constituents and things that they're concerned about aren't necessarily involving impeachment every day. So he kind of acknowledges that this is a tough balancing act in some ways because he knows that the impeachment inquiry is taking over all of the media. It's really kind of blotting out the sun for a lot of these people. And so they know that this is something that they're going to have to kind of contend with while also localizing their races. That's especially, always the challenge for House members in districts like this when you really want to localize your race against the backdrop of a national environment. He's argued that he's been able to do that before, but it does present this question of how long does this go and how invested or interested are voters in this. But we should note that we've seen polling that shows that Democrats support the inquiry, but we're also seeing some movement among Republicans and independent voters.
So at the same time, the congressman is also facing a primary challenge, a very complicated political landscape there. So how is he addressing that? It's a progressive candidate.
It is, and I mentioned that to him. I asked him about it, and noting that he's kind of being squeezed from all sides here, and that's why I was kind of interested in this district, because on one hand you're trying to talk to voters who supported Trump but also supported you. On the other hand, you're getting a primary challenge from the left by someone who doesn't think that you're being aggressive enough against the president, and it's a district that is very split. It has some rural areas where we were today and some more kind of urban, suburban areas, and so this is, he has this kind of challenge where you have the base of the party really geared towards one thing, and a moderate moderate Democrat like himself trying to, maintain focus on local issues.
Yeah, fascinating. It'll be really fascinating to see how, in fact, he intends to sort of walk that fine line here as the Democrats get further down the road of the impeachment inquiry. All right, Caitlin Huey-Burns, thank you so much, Caitlin.
Thank you.